Hi, it's Liz Sneddon. Let's have a look at writing a summary investigation question. So there's a few things we need to include in our investigation question. So we need to choose, for a summary one, we need to choose one variable. We also then need to talk about particular words to talk about where the centre or the middle might be. So if we've got numeric data, we might use the words tens or typical. If we've got categorical data, we'll talk about the most common. And then we're going to refer to the population. And being able to say all is quite a good way to describe this. So a reminder here of the difference between the population and the sample. So population is everybody in that group, whereas a sample is just a group of people that have been selected or chosen. So some of them. So here's our example. And our first step, remember, was to choose one variable. So I might just want to choose a student's first name as the variable I'm going to investigate. I could choose their age as the variable, or gender, or PE, or wall sit times, or height. I would choose one of those variables. Then, a little reminder, this is our wall sit data, so the sample is some of our Year 11 students at St Kentigern College. So that means the population is all Year 11 students at St Kentigern College. So let's have a look at writing some questions and putting all that together. So start by choosing, for example, the age variable. Let's write an investigation question using the age. So I wonder what the typical age is. So I've looked at this and gone, age is numbers, it's a numerical data. So I'm going to use either the word typical or tens. And I'm going to ask, what's the typical age for all of the Year 11 students at St Kentigern College? So because I need to refer to my population. What if I chose the gender instead? So let's think about what kind of variable that is. That one is a categorical, so there's groups. So when we talk about categorical variables, we want to use the words most common instead. So I wonder what the most common gender is for all Year 11 students at St Kentigern College. What if I chose the wall sit time? So is that a numerical or a categorical variable? If we look at the data, it's definitely numerical, so we can either use the word tens or typical. So I wonder what the wall sit time tends to be for all Year 11 students at St Kentigern College. If I was to choose the heights, again, height is a numerical, so I would use either the word tend or typical. I wonder what the height tends to be for all Year 11 students at St Kentigern College. So you'll notice there's some things that all of these questions have, and that's quite important. Once I've written my question, I then want to make a hypothesis. And what we want to do is we want to think about this before we look at the data. So before we look at the data, what do you think you might find? So we're going to make an educated guess. So, for example, if my problem was this, I wonder what the typical age for all Year 11 students at St Kentigern College. So I need a hypothesis. I think, well, Year 11, my best guess, I think that they'll typically be around 15 years old. So I'm just coming up with what I think is an educated guess, and that's my hypothesis. Thanks for watching.